is that the shape-shifting that is often described is actually just people seeing in the spiritual realm what's going on. The issue that people, quote, shape-shift from one physical being, say a 5'3" female to a 9-foot Draco reptilian, quote, doesn't happen. What they're seeing is they're seeing in a parallel dimension, a spiritual realm, a being that is attached to the basal nuclei of the brain in the sense that steering or driving that human husk. And what you're really observing there in those two-dimensional planes is a human, a hybrid between a serpent being and a man or woman who has been indwelt, cursed, and gone through the spiritual technologies to create humans to be the rulers of our planet.
Which could be walking among us anywhere.
They're here every day. I'll give you an example, a concrete example that I can't explain. I was the doctor for the first young man shot in Columbine, Mark Taylor, and he survived 8 bullets to the chest, 7 behind the heart and in front of his aorta. 1 hit the T9 vertebrae and knocked a chunk of bone off, and he almost hemorrhaged to death when the bones ripped through some of the areas of his pelvis as well. And after 2 14-hour-plus procedures and 57 units of blood, he was discharged from hospital, and to make a story short, he supernaturally was healed. We prayed, boom, he didn't need to go for big thoracic surgery. But the real issue is a few months later, or a year or so later, when we were asked to come to Dakota Ridge High School, Marine One brought Bill and Hillary Clinton in, along with security forces, to Dakota Ridge, and we had about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, to spend talking to Bill and Hillary and their entourage. And as I approached Hillary, of course, because let's put it this way, my intuitive and other viewing abilities are orders of magnitude beyond Ed Dames or anyone else that's been trained in the men who stare at goats. So I looked over and I could see in the spiritual dimension, which I could see all the time, that in the place of this 5'3", relatively diminutive, plain-looking female that was well-dressed and had zip personality, I saw a 9'6", roughly, or giant, very ugly. If you want to call it, the best way to describe it would be almost like an advanced dinosaur. Would be the best way to look at it. Almost like an intelligent dinosaur. And it looked right over at me because it knew that I was the only one in the room that could see it. Now, there's no such thing as shape-shifting occurring. So when people see and they think they see slit eyes, they're just seeing an image that's so intense that the average person who doesn't have this intuitive skill, it breaks through and they actually see an image of something in the spiritual realm that's always been there. It's just broke through because of the intensity of the image. Does that give you any insight?
Yeah, I mean, does that help you, Aaron, with, your latest video with Camelot? It showed your eyes shifting back and forth, and I'm still not sure what that was, and it really blew my mind. Can you speak on that?
Yeah, sure. Well, obviously, that has been, with all the information I shared from that interview, that has been the largest topic I've noticed amongst people who just glancing through the comments on the YouTube video, and not even getting emails, people finding me on the web, which obviously isn't hard. And the theories and it's all come out where, okay, just basically I've had people go from saying I was being channeled to people saying that I was switching into an alternate personality, which I do indeed have. That was, invoked me through psychotropic drugs and electroshock therapy and a lot of other things younger.
What they do is they split your mind. It's called creating altars.
Yes,
and they use those altars for either military operations. For example, they can make an altar of you that has a photographic memory, so they can use you to download information or to have super strengths or to have certain skill sets. So they can create an altar that actually has physical and other capacities that you and your normal personality don't have.
That's correct. And, well, then just a couple other ones were, people claiming that I was some sort of alien-human hybrid and all that. But what I have had is a couple of people, I will not say their names, but these are people who were in some secret government projects who have come forth to me through other contacts I have, who this is more of their field of expertise. And I am going to be at some point going out and seeing these few people.
Yeah, you might actually need to have what I call clean house. See, what happens is these altars are created, and you have to break down the barriers because this is part of the technology. It's called Reichian mind control. I personally was trained in our medical school 7 years after I found out later he was actually supposed to have died on a mountain. And, of course, you can speak to that, Aaron, with knowing that in 1999 your military records say that you're basically KIA, killed in action, so you're not really supposed to be here.
Right.
Dr. Ewan Cameron in 1967 was supposed to have died in a mountaineering accident, but in 1974 spent many sessions showing us slideshows of his exact mind control projects at the Montreal Neurological Institute, wiping minds clear with sensory deprivation and sensory loading of images and prolonged exhaustion so that they can't sleep for days and weeks. And then when they create altars, they can wipe the personality, they can reprogram it. They can also use these various new drugs, like, they've been researching since the 50s and 60s, like BZ, the long-acting form of hallucinogen that's related to LSD, and many others. And newer ones now they're developing are actually mycotoxins or fungal toxins. And these alter the mind, split the mind, and create different altered states. Now, the ancient and more modern, still existing shamans, like in South America, use things like ayahuasca, which David Icke used, and that's quite dangerous if you're an adult and you don't have any spiritual understanding, because you can open up what's called the astral or the third eye, and you can actually be attached almost by like a parasite by these spiritual beings and creatures, and you can actually open up a gate to hell, if you want to call it. So, which is what
they refer to as being possessed by a demon or the devil.
Right. It's not just, and the thing is, the best way to describe this would be, we know about bacteria and viruses in our world. What about intellectual and spiritual parasites like suckerfish that can attach to you, and then eventually, as they're advanced, they can actually control you? And they attach basically on an interdimensional plane through the magnetite particles that are located in the pineal gland and the basal nuclei of the brain, and they actually interface and take over control. And that's what the technology, that's why the ancient blood rituals and sex magic rituals and blood sacrifice is used to create altars, starting with the children, which their parents would curse, and they would create bloodlines of individuals that would be receptive to cursing their own seed, and doing this down through the royals of the ancient high priests in Sumer in Egypt, and now the repository and the lettered agencies that control all the corporations, all the churches, all the governments on earth, all are involved in these what I call psychic and occult technologies that understand the spiritual realm, that understand and have super science, and then are fully capable of communicating and channeling information from other realms or beings, like the Gesellschaft and Thule Society that use their technique to channel anti-gravitonic and rocket technologies and others, and went back to the lab and proved that it was correct.
I got a question for you, Aaron. Is it true that the false flag event in Haiti is now under Operation Spyglass, which is harvesting humans for several reasons? And does that relate to you because of your involvement in Project Talon and Project Seagate?
Yes. Well, that is there's a lot. It's a multi-operational. It was designed for multi-operations. This plan for Haiti, everything from the vast mineral deposits and the vast amount of the oil that's under there, but then also, and I'll just explain from what I know and what is definite, because it happened. Operation Spyglass, which is actually a global operation, but is mainly in the Western Hemisphere and specifically in the Caribbean, just basically what Operation Spyglass was and still is, was for human abduction, or what also could be referred to as MILAB, military abduction. But it isn't what people think, where they take you, they probe you, they may put a chip in you, they do some tests, and they let you go. No, these people are taken and they are never seen again. And what Operation Spyglass has been since at least 1999, 1998, when I was first introduced to it and first became a part of it, was that, and specifically in the operations I was doing, where we were doing false immigration interdiction on the high seas, drug interdiction. These people were not being taken to the proper facility where they're processed to either go to prison or to be extradited back to their country, but they were